Thank you for joining me on the Lookout Guy podcast. I am Michael Tobin, your Lookout Guy. Well, here is my blog and audio podcast regarding EVs and combustible engines, vehicles with comparisons with reference links to follow. After nearly 6 years of gathering references, I finally condensed them. So, more after this introduction. Sorry, I had to shut my window. The dog next door is barking. But anyhow, let's go. How serious are the EV automakers? But how long will the first EV boon last? Quote, the first EV boon, end quote, is a term I read recently in 2 recent articles, which the EV boon wasn't even remotely the subject of one of the articles, but part of the subject of another. I will share one of those articles with you. I've done quite a bit of reading on the EV subject these past 6 or 7 years, and no article has mentioned a hint of EVs going away, but there was one article mentioning Toyota will be releasing hydrogen-powered vehicles by 2025. What is that? Let's do the math. It's about 3 years from now. Anyways, I don't want EVs to go away because they have obvious desirability based on needs of the owner. Currently, I don't have the ability or needs for an EV, but who knows, that may change. But there is a projected market share of EVs to combustible, though marketing is focusing on allowing the masses to believe EVs are, quote, taking over, end quote. As so many people keep repeating over and over and over. But I can't seem to find the article that mentions specifically the market share goal for now. But I do have one that's from 2017. Without all the vague terms we have to get through from media and marketing. And yes, there are many sadly mistaken groups who want gas, coal, and oil to go away. But some learn reality sooner than others, and some learn later. Reality is as sure as an apple falling from a tree. It will definitely hit the ground. So that's reality. Mark my words, in your lifetime, even if you are 1 year old and have some fabulous ability to read, coal, gas, and oil are not going away. I can go on and on about battery waste, carbon neutral, skyrocketing water and electricity costs, etc., but I'll do my best to keep this enjoyable and sensible. But just one more thing before continuing. As combustible engine ownership decreases, electric prices will increase. As weather gets hotter, water prices increase. As oil demand decreases, oil prices or price per barrel decreases. So vehicle ownership costs. Here's another little dose of reality, folks. Vehicle ownership costs, just like anything else in the market, global market, that it is all designed to be at a certain level. So don't think buying an electric vehicle will put your overall costs lower than the current market of combustible engine ownership. And I'll add, there's this thing called joy for a season. You jump on some kind of idea and you get this immediate relief, but mark my words, that relief goes away, because when something is part of the market, there is a design for how much the market will earn with it. So the only benefits of owning an EV over internal combustion is FOMO, fear of missing out, and artificial intelligence conveniences. Otherwise, overall monetary costs will hover plus and minus depending on maintenance and insurance costs. Electric vehicles are higher insured and gas is higher than electricity. And don't forget that there's this real drag of a challenge in which EV manufacturers are trying to match miles per charge to that of internal combustion vehicles' miles per tank of around 350 miles. EVs are now roughly 250 miles per charge, but for us survivalists, that's not good. That's not good enough. With internal combustion engines, at least we get like 340, 350 miles, per tank. So don't forget Texas either. What year was that they had a big freeze and their electricity rate skyrocketed and people died freezing? It was 2021. Let's do the math. That was a year ago, right? Who was charging their vehicles then? And I'm a Californian so far, nearly all my life. I'm a lifer here. I was born in Hawaii and been in California since I was 1 year old. My mom's family are all San Diegans, and that's a huge family. So I'm a San Diegan. I guess I'm a San Diego hick. But by the way, we should all know about fires, air conditioning, and rolling blackouts. What a thorn in the electric grid, right? And don't forget earthquakes, tornadoes in other places, hurricanes. What are we going to do? How are we going to charge our vehicles? So even though gasoline has their problems during hurricanes and tornadoes and everything, it's not so bad as it's not as bad as electricity. So the winter storm and outages, here's a reference, occurred during the winter of 2021, and a total of 6,484 Texans died during the 7-day period, the 8th deadliest week during the pandemic, according to state health department data. In Texas, Texas has increased the number of deaths attributed to the devastating February 2021 winter storm of 200 to 246. So that's up 36 deaths from the earlier total of 210, and this is a recent article. So continuing, just look at this article from Bankrate from February 7, just over 2 months ago from the time I'm doing this podcast in my blog. The title is, "It May Be Difficult to Avoid Driving an Electric Car in 2022. Don't let the title fool you, though. Like most articles, you have to read them, and you'll often find there's hidden aspects, if not for the only reason that the author can prove that they told you so. So open articles when you see headlines. Even though pertinent information may be in the second half of the third sentence of the second to the last paragraph of a 15-paragraph article, maybe even the last paragraph, but they did tell you so. So open those articles. Here is an I told you so section of this article that I just mentioned, but is this all they have? Future price decreases and federal tax credits? It sounds more like promises to me. And remember that Toyota is planning that somehow made it to a national publication, something that they're planning, and I'll share you that I have below. Hydrogen. Yeah, just wait. And remember that other excuses like inflation, tax credits, hopeful cost decreases, for purchasing EVs, all these reasons come and go, and we know what happens with promises. So here's from the article. Over the average 200,000 mile lifespan of their vehicle, the total cost of a gas-powered car would be $94,540, while a similar EV would cost $90,160,000, according to CNBC. So look at all the stuff that goes into making batteries. We've all seen the writings of everything that is actually a minus, a negative to the atmosphere that goes into creating batteries. That's not really much of a price difference. What is it that we're really concerned in? Money or saving the environment? Sure, an electric vehicle could be zero carbon while it's driving, but the creation of it sure is a heck of a kick in the atmosphere's rear while creating what goes into those vehicles. So what are your motives? So in addition, the sticker price of EVs is getting lower thanks to federal tax credits that can knock as much as $7,500 off the price of your vehicle. Additionally, EVs are expected to get even cheaper in the coming years thanks to battery and technology improvements. Well, we'll see. Moving on, I have a list of articles which mention terms like EV boom or boon. We don't have time for dictionaries, right? I'm 58, and I do remember spelling from grade school and junior college. It's boon with an N. But bonfire still sounds better than bonfire, though. I guess the same goes for boom. Wait, that's pow. You know, like Batman. Anyways, sorry, but I merely decided to give you a list of articles and titles, and I'll continue with the unique statement from each article. And you may keep these references for later, because I know the only people listening or reading are those who actually do your own research. Well, mostly. But remember the word boon. Also, when words like transition, projected, forecast, etc. are used, realize articles are by writers and not experts. Those words are merely for lack of better words or terms, as people say in conversation. So there's a lot of critical thinking that goes into reading and listening, reading articles and listening to podcasts. So in college, we learn the terms extrapolate and interpolate. The first is taking current trends and coming up with a future number based on current rate and information growing. The second is taken from information that is a definite goal, and you may come up with a future number that has an end result so long as something unforeseen doesn't happen between point A and point B. But just look in the dictionary and see for yourself the definitions for interpolate and extrapolate. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So here's the first of three articles. There's three articles that I'll add here, and that's all I can give you. That won't be some big old extensive PhD essay or anything like that. This is merely a blog and a podcast. So number one, the electric vehicle industry is gearing up for a boom. You know, that's they use the word boom with an M. But anyways, although many EV stocks have plateaued recently, there's no doubt they are the future of domestic travel. Therefore, investors are looking to the longer term. In this EV earnings season specifically, investors are keeping tabs on delivery projections. And that's from Cision, that's CISION, PR Newswire. Cision PR Newswire from this month, April 13th of 2022. And the title is How Lithium Shortages Could Sink the EV Transition. The number 2 article. Did I mention hydrogen and Toyota yet? I just actually, in preparing for my blog and podcast, I just struck gold. This is the article where I saw the term used, quote, first battery EV boon, end quote. And they spelled the word correctly. How serious are the EV automakers, by the way? But how long will the first EV boon last? You know, boons come and go, right? There's a real estate bubble, you know, all kinds of bubbles. Everything blows up and bursts. That's just how it is. The market goes up and then it goes down. It corrects itself. It goes up again. So it's all about good timing. So this is from November 15 of last year from Reuters. From November, the title of the article is "The Stakes Are High If the Adoption of Carbon-Free Fuels Happens Quickly. That could bring the first battery EV boom to an end." And here's a short clip from the article. "The enemy is carbon, not internal combustion engines. We shouldn't just focus on one technology, but make use of the technologies we already possess." And that's Toyota. That's Toyoda from the Toyota company. He said at the track, "Carbon neutrality is not about one having a single choice, but about keeping options open." And that's end quote. How brilliant is that? At the gathering, there was a gathering in Glasgow. 6 major car makers, including General Motors, Ford, Sweden's Volvo, and Daimler AG's Mercedes-Benz, signed a declaration to phase out fossil fuel cars by 2040. But get this, Toyota, the Toyota company, declined to join that group, arguing that much of the world is not ready for a shift to electric vehicles. Another notable absence was Germany's Volkswagen. "We don't want to be seen as an EV maker, but as a carbon-neutral company," Toyota Vice Chairman Shigeru Hayakawa told Reuters in an interview. Okay, here's my third and final article. And my statement is, okay, here's that article from Siemens. You know, the Siemens company, they've been around ever since, World War I area. But the company is Siemens. This article is from July 28, 2017, with a definite market percentage of EVs to combustible. It's a 5-year-old article, but worth saving for reference. And if you have a current similar reference, be it an article or a study, please let me know. So from the article is a forecast with caveats. The International Energy Agency, which represents 29 oil importing industrial countries, produces bellwether forecasts that foresee electric cars phasing in slowly. Its baseline projection envisions 150 million electric vehicles on the world's roads by 2030, or about 10% of all passenger vehicles at that point. So there's the big projection of EV market that I remember reading, and I had to do this fairly complicated search to find this article for you. So 10% of all passenger vehicles at that point by 2030. So it's not a huge percentage, it's just a member of the auto industry for competitiveness. So gas engines aren't going away. So in comparison, only 2 million electric vehicles are operating today, 0.2% of the 1.2 billion on the road. And that title is How Electric Vehicles Could Take a Bite Out of the Oil Market. So that was short. It's only about 20 minutes. Well, thank you for joining me. I'm Michael Tobin, your lookout guy.